Perfect. Thank you. Just I think that here is better. So I don't know if Jessica, would you like to start and then Diana?
Okay, teacher, wait a minute. Wait a
Okay.
minute, teacher.
Okay, don't worry.
Kata, you're here? Kata,
Yes,
share
yes,
our
yes.
screen.
I'm here.
Kata, can you share your screen, please?
Yes,
Thank you
let
so
me
much.
let me okay. Listo?
Okay, let's start with our presentation. Our group, we selected our subculture, the hip hop. Okay, next,
Listo.
the
Yes.
first one. Next slide, please. Next. Okay, the hip hop is a subculture created as a for a political and emotional expression in response to the lack of recreational option and socioeconomic change and slums. Next, Kata, please. Ellie, are you ready? Ellie. Okay, Ellie is missing. I don't know. So, Eliana, are you here? Eliana,
Hola,
Eliana, can you read the slide, please?
sí, yo soy de la historia del hip hop. Bueno, comienzo, chicas. Hi,
Yes,
profe.
yes.
Bueno, historia del hip hop. Hip hop originated in the Bronx, New York City, USA in the 1970s. Expressed they is widely recognized at Goes 11 1973. Originated in Bronx, Africa and America. Underlighting the workshops a form of social and cultural expression expression for young people living in poverty, poverty, discrimination and violence. They use music, dance, art to express their ideas, protect life experience. Also in Colombia, hip hop grew in the 80s, 90s, especially in cities like Bogota, Medellin, Cali, where you people adults adopted it to show above social reality, realities life in the networks. Mi compañera.
Okay, the symbols. Okay, driven by core values, peace, love, unity, and safe knowledge, and the self-expression, often serving as a voice, marginalized communities. Its foundation release of five key elements: mixing, dying, breaking, and graffiti, and knowledge acting as a creative, resist, empowering way of life. Next, please. Peace, love, unity, and fun. Coined by Africa Bambata, these are foundation tenets designed to unite communication, knowledge. Understanding the history, culture, and self awareness is considered essential to the art form. respect and authenticity, valuing originality, skills, and staying true on the one's roots. Something from nothing. Creativity and resilience, using limited resources to create art. Next, please. Symbols. Rapping. Oral rhythm, often used for the storytelling and social commentary. Beijing to manipulator of records to create a new music and beats, originating with figures like Digi Hulk. Breakdancing, high physical acrobatic dance style, graffiti art, visual and stylist lettering of imaginary, often representing identity of existence. Next, please.
Okay, impact
Impact.
of hip hop on the society. Hip hop had an strong impact on society because it is a form of expression for many young people, especially in marginalized communities. It allows people to talk about social issues such as inequality, racism, and violence. It had also influenced music, fashion, language, and urban art. Hip hop has helped create identity, social awareness, and a sense of belonging. How does it challenge or contribute? Hip hop challenges mainstream culture by questioning social norms and giving a voice to groups that are often not heard. It, it talks about issues such as inequality, racism, and violence. At the same time, it contributes to mainstream culture because it is a fluence music, fashion, language, and the media. Today, many elements of hip hop are part of popular culture.
Educational perspective. Can you listen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Educational perspective. Hip-hop fusion is a critical pedagogy because it's a rise from context of social exclusion, equation power, inequality, and injustice, and inviting students to analyze reality and take exam. In the classroom, this triality into studenthood reflects on the environment, develop critical thinking, and context school, content with they daily live where knowledge is contrasted and through dialogue. Both narrative and selecting on hip-hop's rating contribution to education is the reclamation of the voice, breath, and lyrical. Reading allows students to narrate their own history, freestyle, stimulates oral expression, creativity, and confidence. Besides here, they learn better. Meaningful learning on motivation he had connect with students real interesting. Its participation and reduce distance between the school on the street in transforms the classroom into an activity creative space. For example, in this space, a student analyze liking to work on language and literature, and learn is no longer impossible, but becomes an experience. Includes and diverse education. He organized and celebrate cultural diversity, is brave with Eurocentric and re-educational models to improve respect on different ways of knowing. The teacher roles from this perspective. The teacher is not just in a transmitting content, but is a mediator, guide, and constant learn. Reorganize that knowledge and also for in the classroom is not just a book. The interaction aspect on hip hop. Hip hop is not just a musical style. It's a culture born in urban context. It's a born from space on counter expression and resistance. In this space can be physical, social, and symbolic. And that the culture is lived, transmitted, and transforming. The street is the original space. The street is the first and major space on the interaction for hip hop. It's an open, accessible, and collective place. Here, rap battles, seaport, breakdancing, and graffiti emerging. The neighborhood. The neighborhood and community is the space of identity because he got connect people with their territory, their history, and their everyday problems. Here he got in the neighborhood and he got caused to be merely an individual expression and because community project culture and education spare. Over time, he got enter center, school, and university workshop, festival, and community. Hip-hop is not just a subculture, it's a lifestyle. Thank you.
Thank you, teacher, for your
Okay.
attention and classmate.
Okay, girls, thank you so much for your presentation. So, I would like just to let you know something. Um, I consider that it's like a kind of important to do it in Spanish, ¿ok? Chicos, bueno, chicas, muy interesante el tema. Les agradezco mucho desde la perspectiva que lo manejaron, en tanto la educación como lo quieren, sí, cómo manejan esta perspectiva y demás. No quisiera, digamos que generalizarlo, no, ¿cómo sería la palabra? Bueno, digámoslo de esa manera. Pero pues sí me preocupa un poco de que pues estamos en una universidad, sí. Ustedes se están formando como docentes. Me imagino que ustedes le exigen a sus estudiantes. Em, no me gusta que lean tal cual y digan como la siguiente. Y leo y la siguiente. Y leo y la siguiente. No todos en el grupo lo hicieron. Al igual que a pesar de que fueron los que se están presentando el día de hoy son el último grupo, pues creo que tuvieron 3 semanas para prepararse no, dos, sí, casi que 3 semanas para prepararse aún más. Entonces sí me genera un poco de inquietud que está sucediendo allí. Yo sé y desde el inicio se los dije, no todos tienen el mismo nivel, no todos tenemos el mismo nivel de inglés, sé que para unos cuesta más que otros. Agradezco mucho porque sé que todos ustedes se están esforzando, están dando lo mejor de ustedes, pero sí en algunas ocasiones sí pediría como un poquito más de exigencia y es algo que voy a hacer para ya este segundo corte en el que estamos trabajando. ¿Listo? ¿Qué les iba a mencionar más? Va a ser un poco más exigente en esa cuestión, pues porque necesito que nos pongamos un poco más como, no sé cómo decirlo exactamente, como las pilas, por así decirlo, un poco más colonial. Eh, Listo, me preparo. Chicos, si necesitan en una hoja tener cómo se pronuncia palabra por palabra, pero antes de de hacer una presentación que sea un poco como más fluido y no como tan robótico a la hora de presentarlo, de leerlo, ¿listo? Pero pues igualmente estuvo muy bien el trabajo, las presentaciones y demás, la presentación, perdón, la manera en cómo manejaron la perspectiva, me gustó mucho en tanto a la educación, cómo lo estarían vinculando y demás. Thank you so much. So, para todos ustedes, como que nos vayamos con esa. Linda, cuéntame, tell me, what happened? You raised your hand.
Good evening, teacher and classmate. I hope you're doing well. Well, my group and I, we are waiting for the presentation too.
Okay, don't worry. So in that same of ideas, okay, well, in this case, well, Linda and Diana Carolina is missing for the presentation. Somebody else is missing? Jessica Carolina already did it.
Yes, I am ready,
Akon, tell
teacher.
me, Joshua, you are missing as well?
Teacher, when you said Linda, is all the group, yeah? So Linda, Yasuri, and all the team we got, yeah?
Okay, so now, well, we are going to continue. I don't know, Diana, would you like to start or Linda?
Sure. Hold me on.
And Diana, will you start, right?
Yes, I
Ah, okay.
am. I'm
Don't worry.
starting.
So just to let you know something so quickly, thank you so much, Diana. Just to let you know, remember that this is week number 7. So I prepare like a different class because I didn't remember we were missing some other groups. The only one that I remember was Diana. I'm so sorry for the rest of you, but yes, of course, you are going to have the opportunity to do it. So in that same order of ideas, what I'm going to do is to move one presentation that I prepared for today. Okay, why? Because we are missing, in this case, Diana and then Linda, and then we are going to do the no the presentation, no, because it is not enough time. So we are going to do the quiz that we have for today relating to the reading check that I assigned, the readings that I assigned to last week. But don't worry, that reading check is really, really, really easy. Okay, so go ahead, Diana.
Okay. Welcome to the class, dear classmates. Thank you, teacher, for this opportunity. Well, the topic I decided to explain today, it is about ayahuasca. Ayahuasca is something called also Yahe, and Yahe is a subculture. I decided to talk about the Yahe subculture because I have considered Yahe as a journey that many people, as in my case, have taken in order to drink a sacred medicine. So, to start, I decided to maybe use the key terms that I will use during my whole explanation. So, first of all, let's mention ayahuasca or yahe. So, yahe or ayahuasca, it's considered a master plant with a spirit that teaches. So, in this case, yahe is not just a tree. However, for indigenous, they consider that this is, they call it as hair of God in the earth. Yes. So that's why it is considered a master plant. Now, let's talk about the purge. The purge, in this case, as you can see, it says that it is the physical or emotional release. In this purge, it is seen that as a cleansing, yes, because when the person drinks the jahe, after some minutes or maybe some hours, the person can start feeling something in her stomach, in his stomach, and suddenly the person has to vomit or throw it up. And that is right, because that is the way how the person is cleansing the toxins or the negative energy. The pinta. When we say the pinta, for instance, I was in a retreat during the first days of January, and I was serving as a translator during a ceremony or many ceremonies of Yahe, and I was sharing this situation or these ceremonies with two people from the Netherlands, and they don't say pinta, but they called it as variation. Yes. So in this case, the pinta or variation, as it is known in other parts of the world, it is a visual hallucination or spiritual visions. So during the ritual, after you have taken the ayahuasca, the person starts having a trip. Let's say that it is a trip, and you start seeing something wonderful. Maybe you have colorful visions, or maybe you have something in your imagination. Maybe you remember a situation, or maybe you get connected to an animal power. Lots of things can be the pinta. Let's talk about the diet. The diet is the period of preparation for the ceremony. In this case, the person who wants to participate in a ceremony of Jahe has to avoid, for instance, salt, sugar, salt, maybe red meat, and it is also well considered to have an excellent behavioral discipline. In this case, listening to healing music or avoiding watching some war TV programs, or yes, all of this. That is the diet. It is not only about ailments, however, it is also about what you listen and what you watch. Ancestral wisdom. In this case, that is the knowledge passed down through generations. So the person who is gonna start managing a ritual like the Jahe ceremony has to be ready because of his or her ancestors started doing it. So as you know, before the colonization, indigenous communities were here in the earth and they practiced a lot of things, and they maybe pray to the moon or the sun, yes, and that is ancestral wisdom was taught to their children, and their children started to teach the same to the rest of the people around the world, as in the case of us. The Taita. Taita is also known as a shaman. So he is a spiritual leader, or he is a healer. So the Taita is also known in several indigenous languages as father or elder, because that person is considered the great I don't know, the great teacher or the great master of the ancestral wisdom. uh, let's continue on the patience. So in this case, Taitas consider people who participate in the ayahuasca or the yahe ceremonies as patients, because they view the ceremony as a form of healing for the soul and the body. Not only the body, it is not recreational, or it is not precisely to get drugged, but just for healing of your soul and your body. The Icarus are sacred chants or melodies that are sung by the Taita, and they use, or yes, the Taita uses the Icarus to guide the visions and to stabilize the energy of the patients. Yes, when the person has drunk the first cup of Jahe, maybe when they start playing the drums or playing the guitar or playing the maraca, sometimes people start getting connected to the messages of the healing music. So those are Icarus. Let's talk about the brew. The brew is, in fact, the liquid. Yes, the liquid is made of something, or the root of the plant. In this case, the technical name is Banisteriopsis capi. In fact, it is Jahe tree. It is kept from the vine of the Jahe tree, and it is mixed with chacruna leaves. So if maybe you haven't seen or you haven't listened about this, I recommend you to see the movie about El Abrazo de la Serpiente. It's an excellent movie. It's a Colombian movie, and it relates a little bit about the story of the Jahe and the Chacruna. Let's talk about the Waira. When I will mention Waira during my presentation, because this is a ceremonial tool made of dried leaves used by the Taita. So the Taita as he's guiding the ceremony, he also has the responsibility to guide visions and cleanse the patient's aura through sound and wind. So the potato starts doing like this on the whole body, or maybe just on the head of the person. It depends on the situation of the person. The wipala. The wipala is the square and multicolored flag representing the Andes and the Amazon. So this square or this flag, it is not only representing the Amazon and the Andean, however, it also represents the unity and the diversity of the indigenous people. So it's an emblematic flag for the indigenous communities. The Maloka. So the Maloka is the traditional circular hut where the rituals take place. Okay. Sorry. Okay, is the traditional circular hut where the rituals take place. So in the Maloka, we can notice that it has a special shape. Yes, it depends on the place. Some people maybe create rectangular form or maybe a square form. However, the Maloka is recommended to be circular because that shape represents the cosmos and the womb of the earth. Espingo is a sacred liquid or perfume provided by the Taita. So when a person maybe is having a bad situation because that person maybe haven't vomit or maybe is feeling not so well after the end of the ritual, that Taita is gonna provide a spingo. It's a liquid made of lemon and I don't know what else. But it refreshes the patient or it helps the patient to return them to the grounded state. The fourth elements. So the fourth elements in this case, earth, water, fire, and air, they are the core pillars of the Taita's worldview, and they are often invoked during their healing. So they invoke the power of all of those elements. Not only say, "I please water," or "please water." They have special names for them. For instance, the name that they provide to the earth, in this case is Pachamama. The name for the water is Jaku Mother. Sorry, Jaku Mama. For the fire, it's I forgot it. The air is Waira, and the fire, if we refer to the sun, it is Inti. Nina. Fire, in that case, in how they call the fire is Nina, or grandfather Nina. Well, after this introduction, a little long, sorry, I have to mention about the origins or the ancestral roots of Jahe. So, in this case, this practice was principle originated in the Amazon rainforest. At the background, you can notice a photo. All the photos that you can see on my presentation are from the Putumayo because I was in the jungle this January. So those, all of them are from Putumayo, right? And I was living in that space. So I share these beautiful pictures with you. Well, In this case, the ancestral roots come from the Amazon rainforest, specifically from the regions of Putumayo in Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru. So, about the ancestral roots, we also have to mention some indigenous groups. In this case, first of all, we have an example of Cofan. In this case, I am sharing with you the photo of Taita Kerubin Keta Alvarado. He belongs to he belonged to the Cofan group. From the Siona group, we have Taita Humberto Piguaje, and from Ingas, here we have Taita Paulino Mohomboy. So in this case, they have used all of this indigenous group have used the Yahe for millennia. Let's talk about let's talk about the core values and symbols. In this case, first of all, we have Yahe plus Chakruna. As I was telling you at the beginning of the explanation or the presentation, Yahe and Chakruna, they represent the union. So it is a mixture of the Yahe vine and the Chakruna leaves, because it is not precisely seen as a drug, but as a sacred plant or a master plant. The main value of this mixture is that the plant has a spirit, and this plant teaches and cleanses the soul. So the patients approach it with an immense respect. In my case, I approach it with a lot of my respect, because we have to follow a strict diet, yes, days before the encounter. Yes, it is not as if you wanna have a cup of coffee and that's it. No, in that case, you have to respect not only the spirit of the plant, but also your spirit and your soul, because this is kind of party. They call them as a party of the spirit, or the spirit's party. Let's talk about the figure of the Taita. In that case, that Taita, he usually wears a feather crown, because it is the most striking symbol, as it represents the Taita's connection to the celestial world and the birds of the Amazon. So in this case, he is showing his authority and his wisdom. On this picture, as you can see, for instance, they are, here we have Taita William Palchucan, Maima Sandra Tautas, and their son, Malco Palchucan. I am a great follower of them, so that's why I tried using their photos on my presentation. Well, the Huayra, as I was telling you before, it's used during the ritual by the Taita, because its sound makes a rhythmic, rustling, and it is used to cleanse the patient's energy field. Yes, so there's also something in this case called Icarus and instruments. So the Icarus are those sacred cans performed by the Taitas. You can notice on the picture they are playing some instruments, and they also sing some songs in order to permit the patient's healing. Yes. The fourth elements at the Wipala. In this case, the Wipala represents not only the unity between Amazon and Andes and the connection with the cosmos, but also they represent the four elements. And in this case, as you can notice, for instance, all of the colors have a special meaning. Yes, the white one represents the time and dialectics. The yellow one, the energy and the strength. The orange one, ambient society and culture. The red one, planet Earth. The purple one, the Andean politics and the ideology. The blue one, the cosmic space. And the green one, the Andean economy and production. Well, the impact that in this case the Jahe has on the society. First of all, let's talk about the holistic approach. In this case, this medicine sees the whole person. Yes, it takes in mind the whole person, because instead of just treating a symptom, the Taita treats the spirit. How? Because in this case, we have some psychiatric breakthroughs. In this case, many patients, in this case, for instance, not precisely in my case, however, when I started, I was a patient, not no psychiatric patient, but I was feeling depression or something, anxiety. And in this case, for psychiatric breakthroughs, many patients are people who found a relief in traditional therapy. Yes, but some studies and anecdotal evidence within the community show incredible success in treating, for instance, post-traumatic stress disorder, severe depression, and chronic anxiety. And I have maybe shared these experiences with a lot of people who has feel better, and they say, yes, they consider that the plant has saved their life. And also we have addiction recovery, because one of the most significant contributions is in the field of addictions. Yes, as many patients have managed to quit drugs, hard drugs, for instance, heroin or cocaine or marijuana, after ceremonies, because the Yahe provides a profound reset of the brain's reward system. So it's kind of if you were pressing a button to reset all the things in your brain connections, something like this happens. Well, the physical heal. Okay. In that case, another item in the case of impact on society is the healing of the incurable. So, for instance, about physical health, we have numerous documented cases of patients with cancer, with autoimmune diseases, and chronic pain, and they have reported significant improvement of even total remission. The placebo versus the miracle. So the ceremony, it says, often removes the fear of death. So maybe because of the science, some of us can be skeptical. The impact on the patient's quality of life is undeniable, yes? So, for instance, for the terminal patients, the ceremony often removes the fear of death, as it says, because it provides peace that, in fact, traditional hospitals or traditional medicine, taking pills, can't. Yes. So you can say, for instance, if you are in a hard situation because you are living, or maybe a person in your family is having a cruel situation because it's under um, terminal disease, for instance, that person is feeling afraid of death. However, this plan teaches that we are just energy, and energy just switches. Energy never ends. So that's a beautiful message from the plant. Uh, the environmental and cultural revaluation is another item of our impact on society. So in this case, we mention here the indigenous rights because by participating in these circles, urban patients become allies of indigenous causes and the protection of the jungle, because as soon as you enter the in the and enter this world, you start getting more connected to the indigenous I don't know, the indigenous knowledge. And you can notice that we come from that knowledge also. Yes, because obvious, if we look inside, deep inside of our blood, we come from indigenous. As I know, I am not European. Yes, I am an American. As an American, I also have indigenous blood. So that's how you start understanding their rights, their life, their knowledge, their wisdom, a lot of things. So the Wipala in the city. The For instance, this flag that you are looking at on the screen, it is the flag that is maybe shown or exhibit in some urban centers, and it reminds society of the original people's value. Yes, because the idea is not only remind all the history on the books about colonial, but to be a little more conscious about the knowledge that in this case is primitive. Well, what are the educational perspectives in the case of the usage of ayahuasca? So first of all, the first educational perspective we have in this case, it's the developing self-confidence and identity. So we talk about the mirror effect. It is something that as teachers, it is great to mention on our classes, because the mirror effect is something that the plan is described by patients. Yes, because it forces the practitioner to face their fears and traumas directly. And in our case as teachers, that is something that we can help with to our students. Yes, if we try to guide our students, because all of them are afraid of many things. Yes, because they are afraid of the world, because they are afraid of their family, because they are afraid of being alone, or yes. So the mirror effect is to look at the mirror yourself and understand that those fears and those traumas can be worked in another way, that all the fear is something that is just existing in the deepest way or the deepest of your mind. Yes, but in fact you can I don't know, reach the light. Let's see the light. The empowerment. In this case, the empowerment, it's the moments, the difficult moments of the ceremony during the purge, when the person is vomiting, in this case, many patients report a massive boost in self-confidence. Yes, they realize that they are stronger than their insecurities, which is in fact, it is a powerful tool for any learner. So in the practice, in my case, it has been the best tool for my life, because as a teacher, I have feel empowered myself, and that is what I share not only to my students but also to the people who is around me, maybe my son, my father, my friends, maybe in this case with you. Yes, that's how I maybe perceive empowerment, as self-confidence, the way how you feel that you have that great power to be the creator of all the things in the world. Because if we are if we come from the universe, we have a universe in our mind, in our hands, in our words, lot of things. So let's talk about also the consciousness of existence and nature. In that case, there's something called connection, because all the practitioners become conscious that they are nature. So we are not just I don't know, a piece of bones. Yes, yes, we have bones, a lot of bones. We are made of bones. However, first of all, we are made of atoms. We are made of cells, and and cells come from the nature. Yes, it's similar to maybe watching the movie of, I forgot that movie, Avatar. If you have had the opportunity to watch Avatar, maybe you can understand what the connection in this case means. If we talk about ethical learning, for instance, this Warner leads to a more responsible way of living. In an educational setting, this can be used to teach global citizenship and ethics, moving away from a purely consumerist mindset, right? Because in that case, it is not just thinking about, okay, yes, we have to live in this case because we were born in a special moment. However, we have to be conscious about that ethics that is developed in our life, in our mind, and the relationship we have with the rest of the people. Um, in the case of the spaces, okay, we also have educational perspective in this case about decolonizing decolonizing knowledge, because science is not the only way to know the world. Yes, sometimes we believe that if I go to the physician, he will have the full of answers about my illness, or I have to consultate maybe another practitioner. However, we have the possibility to believe in the power of the plants, because plants have made miracles around the world, not only with people in Colombia or indigenous. Around the world, there are many people who tend to use plants as a sacred way to heal something, cancer, AIDS, whatever. Vocabulary and symbols. As I told you at the beginning, Taita, and in this case, indigenous communities, they use not only Wipala or Icarus, but in this case, maybe they mention power animals, for instance, the snake, the the snake, the jaguar. Uh, the snake is the representation of the water. The eagle is the representation of the air. The jaguar is the representation of the earth. And we also have the hummingbird, that is the messenger and the representation of the love, right? So in that case, we have lots of vocabulary and symbols, and they allow students to practice translation of word views. Yes, if I teach my students that the jaguar is not only a carnivore or a mammal, but I teach them that it's a power animal and it represents maybe the strength, the intelligence. Maybe they can get connected to another part of themselves. Yes, in that case, about an animal. The spaces of interaction. On this beautiful picture in the middle, that is the campfire. That place, that Maloca, in this case, it's known as the Jalasa. They call that this place as Jalasa. And we were sharing many ceremonies in that place. It's a beautiful place. In the middle, all the time, is necessary to light the fire. So the campfire, because when we are on the ceremonies, this is the way we sat. Yes, we sat around the campfire because it permits us to maybe connect with the inner part of ourselves, of our soul. And we also have some urban medicine houses. Maybe we also have spaces of interaction, like virtual spaces, in this case, for instance, integration circles. Sometimes some shamans are in different parts of the world, and many communities around the world are interested in this opportunity to heal. So if they can't come to Colombia, or if we are not able to participate in Europe ceremonies, something like this, we can integrate the circles they share on different platforms. For instance, as you can notice on the left, it says spiritual retreat, ayahuasca, and healing tourism in Medellin. So this is a retreat platform. And in these retreat platforms, many taitas or other type of healers, and they dedicate Instagram or communities to let patients maybe get that spiritual healing in other or in different type of healing. Yes, not precisely ayahuasca, because ayahuasca is only possible to be drunk in the jungle or in a special place like the Malocas. However, it is not possible to celebrate an ayahuasca ceremony on Zoom or through these virtual spaces. So what it is maybe teaching us is that the Yahé subculture is a bridge, because it connects the ancestral with the modern, the jungle with the city, and the physical with the digital. So it has been all about my presentation, teacher. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Diana. It was really, really well. It was a really good activity, a really good presentation. What you did, I really appreciate that because, well, in my case, in my personal experience, I didn't know anything about that. Well, yes, of course, I haven't heard about this, for example, topic and so on, but not too much like information. I really appreciate, for example, the way you try to show how it impacts, for example, the educational perspective and so on. So thank you so much again for that really good presentation as you designed. Really, thank you so much for sharing, for example, your personal photographies relating, for example, the visit that you did and so on, because it was a personal experience that was like another positive points relating to this, to your presentation and so on. Thank you so much. I think that all of your partners learned a lot today relating to this subject. Thank you again. So
Thanks to you, teacher.
Joseph, you raise your hand. What happened? Tell me. Joseph, no, Joshua. I forgot for the pronunciation. I really do apologize for the pronunciation.
Don't worry, teacher. It's Aiken Joshua.
Akon Joshua. Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
no,
So you
I was wrong. Sorry, me. I was about to do something different, but I was wrong, like taking off the raised hand.
okay? So now I think that is your turn or Linda's team to be able to start, please.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
teacher.
sorry.
Okay, so it's your time.
Yeah, I'm looking for the presentation. Okay, well, good evening, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Today, we are going to talk about art and aesthetics, focus about the graffiti subculture, because it represents a visual component and a way of expression all around the Latin America and the world. That's it. So the members of the group is confirmed by Ana Marcela Picalua, Akon Joshua Buenaventura, Heli Yasuri, and me, Linda Restrepo. So Ana is going to start about to talk about the well, we're going to talk about the origins, a short timeline, some syllables, culture values, educational perspective, strategies, and of course some conclusions. Well, Anna is going to start about the introduction and origin.
Good evening, teacher. Good evening, classmates.
Good evening, Anna.
Sorry for uh, don't turn on my camera, but I'm I'm sick, so I don't have a good presentation today. Um, okay, about the graffiti. It's a modern urban practice emerged in New York City during 1970s and 1970s, particularly within marginalized neighborhoods where young people sought visibility and recognition in a rapidly changing urban environment. So the practice began primarily with tags, which were stylized signature representing the writer's chosen name, and this name were repeatedly written on walls, subway cards, public surface across the city. um, the subway system, in particular, played a crucial role because it always tagged pieces to travel different boroughs. and expanding the artist's visibility and reputation. Sorry. As a competition among writers intensified graffiti involvement stylistically, and the artists began to experiment with larger formats and more intricate lettering, layered colors, outlines, shadows, and three-dimensional effects. And this transformation marked a shift from simple identification to complex artistic production. And over time, graffiti developed its own internal rules and criteria of quality, forming a structure subculture. um, Finally, the origins of graffiti, therefore, are not only historical but also deeply connected to urban identity. Um, the experience of public space in New York during that period.
Okay, here you are a short timeline about the process that arts and graffiti are going to involve for us. Okay, it started in 1960s in New York City. As I was telling you, it was because like a way of expression, starting with the young people, to make the different decorations through the subway and the different walls through the city. In the 1917s, well, the subway system is going to increase in the way of art. Also becomes like a really huge pedal, like for the art group, in order to keep focus, like artists like Futura, Lady Pink, that can you see in the in all those different reference pictures, which are exploring about not only about um, letters. It's to talk about culture or express um, a really professional way of painting through the walls. Um, Also becomes a really global, expanding in Europe, Latin America, and Asia, and as well the street art murals. For example, I'm going to grow in worldwide, and for example, in my personal experience, I had to create my own mural in order to get um, the first degree at a school. And it's now a way of teaching process that you can involve in order to get uh, or to save the history about what you think, what you want to express. So let's continue about to talk about the curious facts and about the graffiti.
Good evening, teacher. Good evening, guys. Now let's continue with core values and identified. Core values and identified. Well, and art and sorry, aesthetics. No. Art not only fulfills an aesthetic function but also a social and cultural one. The aesthetic is related to the perception of beauty and sensitivity toward artistic expressions. As we know, it is not limited solely to what is considered beautiful, so to say, but rather encompasses the way in which people interpret, value, and experience art. Aesthetics helps to develop sensitivity, critical thinking, and the ability to appreciate the diversity of cultural expressions. Um, Art and aesthetics contribute to the formation, of fundamental values such as respect, empathy, tolerance, creativity, and freedom of expression. By engaging with works of art, the people learn to recognize different realities and others understand diverse ways of thinking and value cultural diversity. In this way, art becomes a means of strengthening essential human values for social ecosystems. Likewise, art plays a key role in the construction of identify, both individual and collective. And we know that through art, communities express their history, traditions, struggles, and belief, thing which helps to preserve cultural memory and strengthening a sense of belonging. On an individual way, artistic creation and appreciation help to people recognize themselves, express themselves, and build their own identity. Let's continue.
You guys, we're gonna talk about the impact of graffiti in our society. And something that I haven't realized through all my life is that sometimes we never take into account how important graffiti has become in our society. Because maybe when we see that graffiti, we never wonder why this graffiti is doing there, what is the fact this graffiti is like placing this place. So something interesting that we can find even in Google or whatever app is that graffiti is a form of artics and social expression that have been relevant in modern cities for decades. So sometimes we are not affected for the facts, maybe we are not affected for a problem. We never try to learn about it. So let me tell you the impact of graffiti have been having. Something pretty interesting mentioned in those facts is that graffiti has been playing an important role in in places that they are marginalized. For now, if you talk about maybe indigenous people, African ones, or even people they are poor, they used to use graffiti as a way to speak about how they feel or how they want to resolve some problems. So it's really common that when someone has no maybe the bunch of money or the bunch of power, they never got the opportunity to say about what their opinion or what they even want to say to resolve a problem they are facing. So there is graffiti has an impact. We got three poems during the slide that say that graffiti has had a significant impact on societies by challenging traditional ideas about art, ownership, and public space. You know why? Because it's really common that people used to say that graffiti or they compare graffiti as a way to vandalism, something that is really like this is something bad. Most of people used to say that okay, if you are doing a graffiti, is it something that is against the rules or is even against like the rules we have in our government. But nowadays it's really is not is something really different. As we got in the same point and the second point, criminal states associated with vandalism, graffiti also functions as a form of social and political commentary, addressing issues such as inequality, violence, and identity. That's what I was saying before. And the third one we got there is a influence can be seen in contemporary art, fashion, music, and advertising, where graffiti aesthetic are frequently adopted. So you can find like different way to graffiti. It could be about political. It could be about I don't know about games. It could be about whatever topic you want to talk about. So the next time, guys, you see that graffiti, try to wonder what is the graffiti medium. I mean, what is the importance of what the image they are creating in the walls are placing. So we got to shame our thugs. It is not about only about it's like a paint a wall. It is something that means that someone is trying to even see how they feel. I forgot it's more time too. So, expect of interaction. I mean, it's really common that we use to see graffiti in a face-to-face way. I mean, it's like physical. It is a common space that we use to see it. So, they use streets, walls, tunnels, abandoned buildings, and it's pretty common to find graffiti in abandoned buildings. It's not like if you go to a pretty building place and you don't find a graffiti, not. As it is something that is not common, they used to use abandoned buildings to like to create their graffitis, and they also they say legal graffiti stems are sites or art expression and social interactions. And we got the digital one that is not really common, but having like placing an important role in graffiti. You know why? Because the physical one, I mean, it's like the common that we have been using for decades. But when we're afraid about the virtual, the digital, it allows them to be like knowledge for everyone. It allows to everyone know who they're trying to do. If you start creating a graffiti and you take a photo of that or you take a picture and you post on Instagram, Facebook, whatever app you want to do it, it will be like rolling every single day because everyone gonna know what you are doing it. So if you just create a graffiti and you put in a wall and you don't know anything else, it will be like something less like known. So he said that he has transformed urban landscape by turning legacy. So it's where we already talk about, and and the digital space amplify the visibility. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. The digital have been improving a lot the view of the people have about it. So maybe when you are like scrolling on Instagram and TikTok, you have been seeing people what they are trying to do it. So guys, space of interaction we have two. It could be physical and digital. Most of them have like an important role. If we speak about physical one, it is a common one. But if we speak about digital, it will be the one that we're loving that the people know more about the graffiti we have been creating. So thank you.
Yeah, well, when we are talking about the educational perspective, well, we should know, excuse me, but well, the pedagogy understanding it's going to be using classroom in order to analyze what uh, our students are going to express since the beginners, since they are too young. Uh, like we were saying, is a really important way that they could express what they feel, what they said, and what they are happening, and also could be a really good strategy in order to know, for example, if is so shy, or if is an student that, on the other hand, talks a lot, you can have a really huge difference because what is happening at home and how could you help you with that, about it. um what the art and education is so important, well, it's like the nowadays language and social studies come proof that is it true. It's not only because it burns about the urban realities, it's also using nowadays in the I don't know, most expensive part of the world in order to show how the creativity could involve or every single detail about the inspiration and the art, or the personal thinking. um what we should do according the strategies that could we could implement in our classes. Well, I think that it depends about the school ages that our student has. For that reason, for example, in Spanish class we should using as urban message analysis, what the picture says about it, what the picture says about the outer, what we should can apply in our lives. On the other hand, they can create their own graffiti in order to express or to follow those parameters that the outer can give us. um Also, we can exchange the different ideas in order to get a really, or I don't know, like a best concept about what we are thinking about the graffiti nowadays. Um, of course, we should create really social discussions about it, and in order to improve what we are thinking about and which impact it's going to give in us. On the other hand, about the English classes that we should do, for example, to improve or increase the vocabulary that they had about not only the street art, it's only about uh, the most professional way is, for example, you can see in the gallery. So what can help you in order to be mixed in those realities, for example, like to improve the way that that you assess in those places, describing the murals, describing the pictures, could be an oral activity to improve their speaking, create their own presentations. Um, we used to create like a digital way as well. On the other hand, we should create yet their own um, like a brochure or something like that, and increase, of course, the writing ability in English in order to know what they understand about it. And we should compare about what their ideas are. I'm going to be involved about it. Well, what are the conclusion about the graffiti and the arts and aesthetics practice? Well, is the way of expression it's using in nowadays because, well, you can create your own ideas in whatever day you want. um, the way that we should see the next time a graffiti is not only about the vandalism, is on the other hand, if you can involve, for example, like a different companies that now use those way of expression in order to protect, or in order to let know the people how, for example, take a better care about the nature, a better care about the women, kids, and of course men, about the norms, about the public spaces that we can use in a better way, and not only uh, make the permission that the old buildings are going to die without anything to show us and to show for the days that are coming. And is a way that understand how the physical and digital spaces environment. I'm going to develop different artists worldwide, and how we should implement in our students since they are very young, of course toddlers and babies, how they um, know it's so important to express what they think, and this is a really good strategy to implement with them. So that's it. I don't know if one of my classmates wants to add something more, but
Yeah,
this is the presentation.
I want to say something about it. And so, guys, so we got like homework to try to implement. So the next time, guys, you see the graffiti, try to wonder maybe what is the graffiti showing for you. I mean, what is the graffiti trying to tell you about your life? You can maybe see the graffiti about whatever themes, to try to analyze what is the main topic of the graffiti, and try to share if you're like the ones who used to see the graffiti something like vandalisms or any of those stuff. Try to shame your mind and try to analyze what is the graffiti trying to show you. So thank you so much for you paying attention for acts. It will be something pretty interesting. And I don't know if Yasuri or the other girl wanna say something. Yeah, Yasuri, do it.
And yeah, I would like to add something else. And is how the graffiti have developed in contemporary culture. As we know, and as my partner has said, graffiti has gained a great relevance in the actuality. And in contemporary culture, the graffiti helps to develop and transforming public space into a canvas for social, political, and aesthetic expression, emerging from marginal and youth contexts. Graffiti moves from being seen as an act of vandalism to be recognized as a urban art with his own identity, capable of engaging in dialogue with the city and its inhabitants. Graffiti also functions as a visual language of persistence and visibility, and also becomes sorry that word, I forget the pronunciation, institutionalized. I think festivals, public commissions, and museums have incorporated in different places, and that's it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Joseph, are you speaking? Your microphone. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So, guys, thank you so much for your presentation. It was really interesting. That is a topic that I really love because, for example, no, the last year I had the opportunity to be like, just only for 1 month, the musician in artist teacher at my school, and this was one of the topics that I developed with my students, especially with 11th grade. We check, for example, all about this visual art, all about this visual language relating to graffiti, but also with muralism, because you know that we have like a in our society, we have like a myth with this subculture, with this group of people, and so on. Okay, thank you so much for for your presentation, how you design the slides so colorful. um well, the preparation that you did relating to your pronunciation, how you divide, for example, the presentation in, well, each like a member, and so on. Okay, thank you so much. I really love it. again. So now, guys, I would like just to let you know something so quickly. Just give me please a minute because, well, time is not enough. Time is running. I just want to show you something. So, in your virtual classrooms, you're going to find, just give me please a minute. The week number seven. Week number seven is entitled Voices of Identity. We're going to start exploring culture with music and gender. This is gonna be the topic for the next week. We are going to finish that topic so quickly, but in this case, you have an activity, a really short activity. Remember that the last class, last week, I assigned you a reading that is entitled Phenomenon of Subculture. Where the reading is, it is located in week number six. Okay, so as soon as you have cleared that reading and so on, you're going to take this reading check or this reading quiz that is about the reading, of course. You just only have to access here, and you're going to find just only 5 questions relating to that reading. Okay, the questions are multiple choice, so you're going to find A, B, or C, and you have just only to choose what is the correct one. Okay, so this activity is gonna be available until Saturday midnight. So as soon as you open, for example, the reading check, you are going to have 1 hour. But I'm sure that if you read everything, if you have so clear this topic about subculture, what it is, and so on, you will be able to develop the activity in about 5 minutes or 10 minutes because it is really, really easy. And that's it. I don't know if they have any question. If you don't have any question, you're free right now. Thank you so much for your active participation, for the presentations that you did, that they were really, really interesting. And see you next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye, teacher. Take care.
Bye bye. Take care. See you next week.
Thank you, teacher. See you
You're
next
welcome.
class.
Bye bye, Claudia.
Bye bye.